My daughter wanted that baby, and I don't know if that baby costed her life. That's all I can say.
This is the story of Raquiah King, aged 20, a 12 weeks pregnant lady who was brutally murdered by his so-called Naval boyfriend for refusing to go through with her abortion plans. Her boyfriend Emmanuel Coble, aged 27, a lieutenant in the U.S. Navy, took her to a Virginia Beach abortion clinic to have the procedure done on July 20th, but she changed her mind and refused the procedure, which got him upset, and he fatally shot her along a road in Hanover County. Hello and welcome to Twisted Crimes. Subscribe and hit the like button for more stories.
A Navy lieutenant is accused of killing his pregnant girlfriend. Investigators say the woman backed out of getting an abortion in Virginia Beach.
This case will be taking us to Virginia Beach, Virginia. Virginia Beach is an independent city in the U.S. state of Virginia. It is situated on the Atlantic Ocean at the mouth of the Chesapeake Bay. Virginia Beach is a resort city with miles of beaches and hundreds of hotels, motels, and restaurants along its oceanfront. Raquiah King, aged 20, was a young woman who lived in South Florida. Raquiah was a hairstylist, and she also did tattoos for her clients. She graduated from North Park High School in Opelika, Florida. She was the youngest daughter of a big family. She went to school and did most of her growing up with her family in South Florida until she met someone named Emmanuel Coble. Emmanuel, who was a U.S. Navy lieutenant officer, met Raquiah while she was still living in South Florida. Things went so nice for them, and they decided to take a step further by living together. Emmanuel proposed the idea of Raquiah relocating to live with him in Virginia Beach, which she agreed to do. She moved to Virginia Beach with Emmanuel, and things were going well until she got pregnant. Raquiah was excited about the new chapter of her life, but Emmanuel wasn't happy with the news. He let her know about how he felt about the situation and offered to pay to get rid of the pregnancy at the clinic. Raquiah and Emmanuel got on very bad terms regarding the issue, which made Raquiah very unsafe. She would make statements to her mother that the Navy sailor did not want to be a father, and that if something was to happen to her, Emmanuel Coble was responsible. She also went ahead to text Emmanuel's full name, date of birth, addresses and phone numbers to her mother. Also, she sent text messages to her cousin Aaron Stanley, and, in those messages, she advised she was scheduled to have an abortion on July 20th. Raquiah told Stanley that she was leaving the child's father, Emmanuel, after the abortion. Her final text to Stanley is a receipt from the Virginia League for Planned Parenthood, located at 515 Newton Road, Virginia Beach, Virginia. The receipt lists Raquiah King as the patient and Emmanuel Coble as the person paying the bill. She had already sent her mother and cousin a photo of a sonogram showing she was 12 weeks pregnant, making it a little more hard for her. Raquiah was really hesitant about going for the procedure, but bowed to the consistent pressure by Emmanuel. Upon arrival at the clinic, she changed her mind again and decided to keep the baby, which infuriated Emmanuel. 7 hours later, her naked body was found near the road. Her mother was worried after she did not hear from her, so she reported her daughter missing on July 28th. A Hampton police officer spoke with Emmanuel over the phone about Raquiah's disappearance. Emmanuel told the officer that he rented a residence to Raquiah, but she had moved out and he hadn't seen her in a couple of weeks. He did not mention anything about being pregnant or the other issues they had recently. Also, the information directly conflicts with the information from Rachel Pender and Aaron Stanley that Emmanuel and Raquiah were in a relationship and that Raquiah was pregnant with Emmanuel's child. Emmanuel was seen on surveillance video at the abortion clinic on July 20th, contradicting what he said about last seeing her a couple of weeks ago. Investigators conducted a consensual interview with Emmanuel at his home in Newport News, and Emmanuel admitted he had taken Raquiah to Planned Parenthood on July 20th to get an abortion. He said that he paid for the abortion, but he guessed that she'd changed her mind and had kept the child. He said that this frustrated him.
A Navy lieutenant is accused of killing his pregnant girlfriend. Investigators say the woman backed out of getting an abortion in Virginia Beach.
Emily Harrison has a closer look at the affidavit behind the lieutenant's arrest and the charges that are expected to follow.
Police say 20-year-old Raquiah King was 12 weeks pregnant when they found her dead in Hanover County from an apparent gunshot wound. Now details are coming to light, including information about the suspect accused of her murder. 27-year-old Emmanuel Coble sits behind bars at Pamunkey Regional Jail, charged with first-degree murder after police say he killed his girlfriend after she allegedly refused to get an abortion.
It is an absolutely heartbreaking story that another young woman and her child lost their lives.
According to the affidavit, Coble drove King to a Planned Parenthood in Virginia Beach to get an abortion as, quote, Coble did not want to be a father. King backed out at the last second, and just 24 hours later, police found her body. LaShonda Carson with Samaritan House says King's death is one of the most tragic examples of domestic violence.
Someone losing their life is absolutely the worst case scenario.
Carson says a conversation about the community is needed about the realities of domestic violence and specifically how pregnant women can be targeted for abuse.
Domestic violence is not something that discriminates towards anyone. Really needing to support them and reach out for services.
After receiving a warrant, the Hanover County Sheriff's Office was later able to search Emmanuel's car, where they found blood in the back of the vehicle and a hairband similar to one found on Raquiah's body. Deputies were also able to ping Coble's phone on the morning of July 21st. It showed he had left Raquiah's apartment in Hampton, made his way up to Hanover County, and back to Newport News, all within just a few hours. Just over a month after Raquiah's nude body was found with a bullet injury to her back near the intersection of Wynn's Church and Greenwood Roads, Hanover investigators arrested Emmanuel, charging him with Raquiah's murder and using a firearm in the slaying.
More about the case against a Navy officer accused of murdering his girlfriend and then dumping her body in Hanover.
Raquiah King was just 12 weeks pregnant when she was shot to death. Her body was recovered in a ditch off Wynn's Church Road.
New at 11, John Hood got his hands on some new court documents. And John, this court filing indicates she was killed after refusing to get an abortion?
Yeah, Kurt and Mickey, that's right. 27-year-old Emmanuel Coble is behind bars for a murder charge. According to these court documents, Coble paid to have an abortion for his girlfriend, and when she refused, he said that it, quote, frustrated him. On the morning of July 21st, a passerby discovers a woman's body in a ditch near Greenwood and Wynn's Church Road in Hanover. She was naked and with a bullet wound on the right side of her body, but no bullet casings were found. According to this statement, the Hanover Sheriff's Office soon became aware of a missing persons case out of Hampton. The missing person was 20-year-old Raquiah King. Investigators say they then contacted King's mom, who told them that the day before the discovery in Hanover, she received a sonogram photo from King. The mother also said she received texts about trouble with her boyfriend, Emmanuel Coble, who did not want to be the father. King texted her mom if something were to happen to her, Coble was responsible. Investigators also received texts between King and her cousin, including one showing a receipt for an abortion at this Planned Parenthood in Virginia Beach on July 20th. King did not have the abortion, and her body was found the next day. Detectives later conducted an interview with Coble, who admitted he had paid for the abortion, but King decided to keep the baby, and so drove King back to her apartment. He said he went back to his home in Newport News afterwards and says he fell asleep. But one problem with that account, investigators say they found surveillance footage of Coble's green Chevy sedan at an intersection at almost 5 in the morning on July 21st. The Hanover County Sheriff's Office was able to search Coble's car, where they found a hairband that matched a band King had on her wrist and blood in the trunk. Deputies were also able to ping Coble's phone during the morning of July 21st. It showed he had left King's apartment and made his way up to Hanover County and back to his Newport News apartment, all within just a few hours.
But after working closely with the medical examiner's office and ultimately Ms. King's family, we were able to positively identify her. Once we identified Ms. King, we were able to quickly identify a suspect.
Emmanuel Coble is charged with first-degree murder and use of a weapon in King's death. Hanover officials say the two were in a relationship.
And once we have a suspect, then it was multiple search warrants that were executed, not only on his residence, but his cell phone. And then that kind of helped put the pieces back together for us.
Neither King or Coble had any connection to Hanover County, and both lived in Hampton. Hanover investigators believe the murder occurred there, and Coble then drove King's body nearly 90 miles before dumping her in the ditch.
Honestly, it really doesn't matter where it occurred because we have a body. And when we have a body, we're going to treat it as a homicide investigation.
According to court records, Coble worked for the Navy. Hanover deputies say more charges are expected in the case.
It's difficult, but that's why we work very hard to bring justice not only to Raquiah King, but also for her family, because it's the first step in bringing some sort of closure for them.
Emmanuel holds the rank of junior grade lieutenant in the U.S. Navy and was recently assigned to the USS John C. Stennis, a nuclear-powered supercarrier temporarily docked in Norfolk. Emmanuel is being held in the Pamunkey Regional Jail pending a preliminary hearing on his charges in Hanover General District Court. Authorities said they plan to seek additional charges against Emmanuel in the death of Raquiah's fetus. We hope Raquiah King gets the justice she deserves. Our sincere condolences to the friends and families of Raquiah King. May Raquiah's memory be a blessing for her family and for all who knew her, and may her life and death be an inspiration and a turning point towards justice and increased protection for domestic abuse survivors. Please stay safe out there and see you guys in the next video.